Late Show. Ladies and gentlemen, my next guest is a retired Army officer and veteran of the Iraq War. She currently serves as a U.S. Senator from the state of Illinois. Please welcome back to The Late Show, Senator Tammy Duckworth. Senator, thanks so much for being here. Good to see you. It's nice to have on. It's nice to have on a senator now, but also having a veteran on because Trump held the big parade, military parade, on Saturday.
He did. I left town.
Okay, all right. Okay. Technically, it was on his birthday. Technically, it was held to honor the 250th anniversary of the Army. As a retired lieutenant colonel, do you feel like it was an appropriate honoring of the Army?
No, because it wasn't meant to be an honoring of the Army. It was meant to be an ego stroke for Donald Trump, and it was a total waste of time and money.
And something that he wanted the first term, right?
Right, and he was told no, and he was told no by the Secretary of the Army and the Department of Defense before, but this time he put in a whole bunch of yes people, and he got his parade that not very many people attended, it seems like.
Yeah. And I feel bad for the soldiers who have to go out there and like they're there, they're doing their job, and they get to, you know, go past not a very big crowd. They deserve a better honoring than that, in my opinion.
I agree with you. If you truly want to honor the Army's 250th birthday and spend $60 million doing it, maybe you could fund some scholarship programs for military children.
Well, let's talk about some other things the president's done recently with service members. So last week, he deployed Marines and National Guard troops to Los Angeles in response to protests against ICE raids in Los Angeles. What happens when a commander-in-chief orders troops to do something that isn't necessarily about national defense? When our own troops are sent into our own streets against our own citizens?
It is perversion of the law. He basically broke posse comitatus rules. And frankly, those troops, I asked them, the Marine Corps Commandant was asked in committee last week, how many hours of civil disturbance training do the Marines get a year? He said 2 hours. And yet there are hundreds and hundreds of LAPD officers who could provide that support. And in fact, said they don't need the Marines to come. We're okay.
Well, also last week, Trump spoke at Fort Bragg to troops that had been reportedly hand-selected based upon their political affiliation.
Yes.
Why is it so important that the military be apolitical?
Because when you go into combat, you don't need to worry about whether your buddy to your left and your right is going to cover your back. In my helicopter that got shot down in Iraq, there were Trump voters as well. There were Trump voters in that helicopter, but I never worried about my buddies having my back because it didn't matter what your political affiliation was. What only matters is that you had a U.S. flag on your shoulder, you cared more about America than you did your own life, and you're willing to serve her. And what Trump is doing is putting questions in the troops' minds about who am I serving next to? He hand-selected those troops to be behind him. What about the buddies in their squads who were not hand-selected to be behind him, who were sitting over here watching the cheering and the whooping and the hollering? And it also degrades the role of the military in America's minds. It's one of the last remaining institutions in our nation that Americans continue to respect, our men and women who wear the uniform of this great nation. And he's degrading our military. It is shameful, and it certainly is not something that the commander-in-chief of the greatest military on the face of the earth should be doing.
For as much as any politician might want to wrap themselves in the flags and claim the allegiance of the military, in fact, the military has the same sort of broad selection of people that the general population does. It's a very varied population.
It is very varied, and in fact, every member of the military swears an allegiance, and your allegiance is to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. You never swear an allegiance to any president.
We have to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Senator Tammy Duckworth, everybody. Stick around.